She said she was just in the neighborhood, that's how she opened. No warning, no text, just appeared at my table mid-sentence while I was laughing at something my date said. Let me back up. It was a second date. Not fancy, just this cute little Italian place we both liked. Good bread, dim lighting, nothing too intense. Things were going well. He was funny, I was relaxed, and for once, it didn't feel like an audition. We had just ordered dessert when I saw her. My mom, standing at the edge of the patio, waving. I blinked, unsure if it was real. She walked over and said, "I didn't know you'd be here. I was just grabbing coffee next door." First of all, no one gets coffee at 8 p.m. Second, she lives 25 minutes away. Before I could say anything, she pulled up a chair and sat down, looked my date dead in the eye and said, "So, you must be Adam." That was not his name. I mouthed, "What are you doing?" She smiled and said, "Just 5 minutes." Spoiler, it was not 5 minutes. She stayed for the entire dessert course, commented on our body language, asked him about his parents. When he mentioned he was still figuring out his career, she said, "Oh, so you're one of those." I wanted the earth to open and swallow me whole. The waitress came over to ask if we wanted anything else. My mom goes, "I'll take a decaf and the tiramisu. Separate check." I didn't know whether to scream or laugh. He, somehow, stayed polite the entire time, but I could see it in his eyes. He was done. After she finally left, I apologized. He smiled and said, "At least now I know where you get your confidence from." We hugged. He never texted again. And my mom? She still thinks she saved me from wasting time. Moral of the story, if your mom says she's just in the area, run. It had been over a year since we broke up. No contact, no drama, just a slow, mutual fade-out that ended in silence. He moved cities. I moved on, or so I thought. Fast forward to me looking for a roommate. Rent was rising, and I'd finally decided to post in a few local housing groups. I made a very normal, very boring listing. Rent, utilities, no pets, must be clean, you know the drill. 2 days later, I get an email with the subject line, "Room inquiry, saw your listing." I click it. I recognize the name immediately. It's him, my ex, applying. For my apartment. No intro, no acknowledgement. Just, "Hey, I'm looking to move back into the city. Let me know if the place is still available." I thought it had to be a joke. I literally checked the email twice to make sure it wasn't a prank account. But no, it was his real email, with his full name and even a little "sent" from iPhone signature at the bottom, like this was some kind of polite business arrangement. I replied, "Hey, just confirming you meant to send this to me?" He wrote back, "Yeah, why not? We got along well. I'm super clean now." Now. That part sent me. This man used to leave wet towels on the couch, drank oat milk straight from the carton, forgot to flush. And now he wants to live in my apartment again. As my roommate? I asked, "Are you serious?" He said, "Why not? We're both adults. Plus, I'd already know your red flags." I didn't respond. He sent a follow-up 2 days later with a Google Doc that had his budget breakdown and availability to move in. As if I was HR and this was a job interview. I ended up renting the room to a girl named Chloe who owns a cat and listens to soft jazz at night. Peaceful, quiet. No history. Meanwhile, he still views my Instagram stories, probably wondering why I didn't take him back. With Elise this time. I wish I could say I was drunk, or even half awake. But no, this was pure uncut sleep brain chaos. I've never sleepwalked in my life, but apparently sleep texting is now a thing I do. And my boss was the lucky recipient. So here's how it started. I'd had a long week. Back-to-back deadlines, passive-aggressive emails, and a client who thought urgent meant every subject line needed all caps. Friday night finally hit. I took a melatonin gummy, curled up in bed, and knocked out by 9:30 like a grandmother. At 6:12 a.m., I woke up to 3 unread messages from my boss. Message 1. Message 2. Are you okay? Message 3. Please disregard your last message. I stared at the screen like it was a cursed object. I scrolled up, and there it was. Sent by me. 2:47 a.m. One giant, horrifying, unhinged paragraph. I think the spreadsheets are trying to kill me. And also, why do we pretend that the printer isn't evil, like it knows things? Don't trust Janet in accounting, she has lizard eyes. I need to go into the forest to reset my brain. See you Monday or maybe never. All lowercase, no punctuation, total chaos. And the worst part? I added a line at the bottom that said, "P.S. Tell the coffee machine I'm sorry." I wanted to die. I texted back immediately. Deeply sorry, sleep texting, not okay. I swear I'm mentally stable and employed. She didn't respond until hours later, just wrote, "Take Monday off." I haven't touched melatonin since, and I haven't looked Janet in the eyes either, just in case. She could have just said she didn't want sushi. That would have been enough. But instead, she committed to a full fake allergy. In front of a server, at the table, mid-menu. Let me explain. There were 4 of us. Best friend group since sophomore year. We'd been planning a dinner for weeks. Same place we always went, same order, same vibes. But that day, she starts acting off in the group chat. Not really feeling sushi. Maybe we could go somewhere else. Raw fish kind of freaks me out lately. We told her she could always get noodles or a rice bowl. She said, "I guess." I thought that was the end of it. Fast forward to the table. Server walks over, asks about allergies. We all shake our heads. Then she goes, "Actually, I have a severe seafood allergy. Like, life-threatening." All of us stared at her. She's eaten salmon rolls next to me. She's literally shared shrimp tempura with me. I once watched her eat poke with extra tuna. The server immediately changes tone, panics a little, says they can't guarantee cross-contamination, and maybe she should avoid ordering at all. My friend looks relieved, goes, "Oh wow, okay, yeah, maybe I'll just sit this one out. Safety first," I mouthed. "Are you serious?" She smiled like she just cracked the Da Vinci Code. We all ended up ordering in a rush, totally thrown off. She sat there the entire time sipping water and talking about how hard it is living with such a rare condition. And then, I kid you not, she texted me the next morning a pic of shrimp tacos from another restaurant. I said, "Thought you had a life-threatening allergy?" She goes, "Oh yeah, it's conditional. Depends on the restaurant." Conditional. Like her loyalty, apparently. So now we refer to her as Shellfish Shannon and make her sit by the exit, just in case the fake allergy flares up again. It started as a strategy, nothing more. After the breakup, I told myself I was fine, totally over it. But deep down, I wanted one thing, for him to see me with someone else and realize what he lost. Not healthy, I know, but honest. So when I met Ryan, funny, hot, charming in that low-effort way, I thought, perfect. He was just enough of a flirt, just visible enough online, and most importantly, not my ex. I told myself he was a prop, a distraction, something temporary. The plan was simple: post a few stories, look like I'd upgraded, and move on. But Ryan didn't act like a placeholder. He actually listened. He asked about my job, remembered my coffee order, texted me back without disappearing for 3 hours. We started hanging out more, not just for show, but because I wanted to. I'd tell myself I was still in control, still playing a role, until one night I found myself checking his location to make sure he got home safe. That's when it hit me. I liked him. Genuinely. And that scared the hell out of me. Because I hadn't told him the truth. That I wasn't looking for anything real when we met. That I'd used him at first to make someone else jealous. I thought I could just let it fade out quietly. Ghost him, maybe. But when I started pulling back, he noticed. He texted, "Did I do something wrong?" And the guilt? Immediate. I called him, told him everything, that I wasn't proud of it, that I'd lied about what I wanted, that I never expected to feel anything, but I did. He was quiet for a second, then he said, "At least you're being honest now, but I'm not really trying to be someone's rebound story." Click. I deserved it. All of it. Lesson: if you play with someone else's heart just to fix your own, don't be surprised when neither of you wins. The moment I saw the empty spot on the porch, I knew something was off. I'd been waiting 2 weeks for that limited edition drop. Skincare, imported, prepaid, expensive. And I never miss a delivery. I checked the tracking, marked delivered, but it was gone. Now Maya was over that day. We were in the kitchen, both saw the delivery guy through the window. She even joked, "Your obsession with mail is getting serious." I laughed, then went to grab the box maybe 2 minutes later. Nothing there. At first I thought I was just losing it, so I checked the Ring camera. I wish I hadn't. You can see her. Maya. Casually walking to the door, glancing behind her, scooping up the box like it was hers. She tucks it into her bag, not even fast, like she'd done it before. I didn't say anything right away. I was still in shock. She stayed another hour, made a smoothie, took a selfie on my couch, then claimed her mom needed a ride and left. I went back to the footage again to make sure I wasn't imagining it. But no, it was her. Same jacket, same bag, same little pause at the door. I texted her that night. Hey, did you maybe grab my package by mistake? No answer. Next morning, she posts a photo of the same product on her story. Same brand, same packaging. Captions it like she bought it. I stared at my screen for a full minute before messaging her again. I saw the camera footage. She blocked me. No reply. Just vanished. We had 5 mutual friends. I tried explaining, but she got ahead of it, told everyone I was having jealous breakdowns, and accused her out of nowhere. One of the girls even asked, why would she steal skincare? I don't know, Madison. Maybe because she's a liar? It's not about the product anymore. It's about the fact that someone can sit across from you, drink your coffee, talk about weekend plans, and at the same time be robbing you. Don't ignore your gut. And don't assume your friends aren't capable of being villains. Some of them are just quiet about it. I didn't even hear the first ping. My phone was buried under a pillow. But when I rolled over and checked the time, 3:07 a.m., I saw 3 texts from my boss. Not a group chat, not an emergency, just him. The first one was, you awake? Then, can't sleep, just thinking about that outfit you wore today. And the last one? You always look so put together. Makes it hard to focus sometimes. I sat up so fast I literally got dizzy. I wasn't even sure if I was dreaming. This is a man with a wife, a daughter, a LinkedIn profile that screams, I run 10Ks and believe in mentorship. Let me back up. I'm a junior account manager, new job. I dress nice, I'm polite, I do my job. That's it. He's always been friendly, a little too friendly sometimes. Lingering at my desk, remembering small details, calling me kiddo like we have some kind of inside joke. I brushed it off. I needed this job. But this was disgusting. I didn't respond. I screenshotted everything, turned my phone off, and stared at the ceiling until morning. And the next day, he acted normal, like it never happened. Just handed me a coffee like, big day today, huh? Like he didn't cross a huge line in the middle of the night. I kept thinking, if I bring this up, I risk looking emotional. Or worse, getting labeled as dramatic. But if I don't say anything, I'm basically giving him permission. So I went to HR, quietly. I didn't make a scene, just showed them the texts and said, this is not part of my job. Their faces said everything. He's on leave now, probably figuring out how to spin this in his head as some kind of misunderstanding. But I don't care, because if someone in power thinks they can blur boundaries like that, they don't deserve that power at all. The table was already set when I arrived. Candle flickering, 2 menus, soft background music. Everything looked exactly how I'd pictured it, except he never showed up. What makes this worse is that he was the one who asked me out. Not me hinting, not me chasing. He literally said, let's do dinner Friday, just us. I was stupid excited. Picked out the outfit 2 days early, even rehearsed the dumb little jokes I thought I might tell. I got there 5 minutes early. At 7:14, he texted, parking now. That was the last thing I ever heard from him. By 7:45, I had memorized every couple around me. By 8 o'clock, the waitress stopped asking and just gave me a pity bread basket. At 8:20, I texted him, nothing. No delivery error. No, sorry, something came up. Just gone. The next morning, he posted a mirror pic at someone else's apartment. No caption, no guilt. Just out living his life like I never sat there under that dumb, flickering candle for 2 hours. I blocked him, obviously. But the part that stuck with me wasn't even the ghosting. It was how easy it was for him to vanish like nothing happened. Never again. If someone's texting you sweet one day and invisible the next, believe that version. That's the real one. It was her first time visiting me since I moved out. I hadn't even unpacked all the boxes yet, but I still wanted to make the night feel special, like a proper welcome. I made a dinner reservation at this cozy little Italian place 5 blocks from the apartment. White tablecloths, string lights, jazz playlist, all of it. I figured we'd eat, catch up, walk back, maybe open a bottle of wine. So I got ready. Nothing dramatic. Black turtleneck, gold hoops, clean boots, but enough to look like I was trying. I picked her up from her hotel around 6, and the second she got in the car, she goes, "Ooh, someone's dressed to impress." I told her to stop. She told me I looked elegant. We laughed the whole way to the restaurant. Dinner was perfect. We split a bottle of red, she made fun of my dating life, and I made fun of her obsession with crime podcasts. When we left, she insisted on paying. I tried to argue, she gave me the mom look. You know the one, end of discussion. We walked back to my place arm in arm. It was chilly, and she was wearing this long navy coat that made her look like some magazine editor. She always had that energy. And right as we walked in, I heard the click of my roommate's door opening. Now pause. My roommate has never met my mom. She's heard of her, sure, but she's never seen her in person. She walks into the hallway, sees me walk in with a stylish older woman on my arm, holding a half-finished bottle of wine and giggling about something. We make eye contact. She freezes. I say, "Hey," totally normal. And she kind of blinks, slow, like her brain is buffering. Then she pulls me aside. I swear to God, she grabs me by the wrist and whispers, "Wait, was that your date?" I blinked back at her. "What? The woman you just walked in with, is that who you're seeing?" I deadass stared at her for 5 seconds before responding. "That's my mother." The color drained from her face. I've never seen someone so instantly horrified. She just stood there, eyes wide, like she had walked in on something criminal. "And I kid you not," she whispered, "oh my God," and then ran into her room. My mom, of course, heard the entire thing. She looked at me with the biggest grin and said, "Well, I am flattered. Think she'd like a selfie?" And now she won't drop it. She's texting me stuff like, "Tell your roommate I'll be back next week," or "Don't let her fall too hard for me." She even signed off one message with, "Yours truly, MILF in residence." Again, no emoji, just pure menace. My roommate still can't make eye contact. Every time we're in the kitchen together, she looks at the sink, the counter, the ceiling, anywhere but me. And honestly, I live for it. I placed the order at 6:43 p.m. I remember the exact time because I was starving and obsessively checking the app every 5 minutes like it was going to make the food cook faster. It was one of those days, long shift, skipped lunch, nothing in the fridge. I ordered from my favorite Thai place, pad see ew, spring rolls, Thai iced tea, comfort food. By 7:10, the app said the driver had picked it up. Cool. Estimated arrival, 7:28. I even set the table. I don't usually do that, but I was too hungry to sit still. At 7:30, the dot on the tracking map hadn't moved. By 7:35, it said arriving soon. But still, nothing. No texts, no knock, no call. Just me, standing by the window like a dog. 7:40. Still no food. I messaged the guy through the app. "Hey, just checking if you're close?" No reply. At 7:50, I reported it missing. The app just gave me a vague, "We're looking into it" message. Then, 2 minutes later, I get a call. It's from an unknown number. I pick up. It's the delivery guy. He says, "Hey, sorry, I was real hungry. I tried a few bites and..." Yeah, I ate the whole thing. I swear to God, I just stood there holding the phone in silence. I go, "You're kidding." He says, "Nah, I figured you'd get a refund anyway." A refund, like that was going to fix it. I asked him why he didn't at least cancel the order. You know what he said? "Too late. I was already halfway through it. Seemed rude to not finish." He laughed, like we were buddies. I hung up on him and immediately contacted customer service, who gave me a $5 credit, like that was supposed to make up for getting scammed by a guy who had the audacity to admit he ate my dinner, while I sat there with an empty stomach and a full place setting like an idiot. The kicker? 2 hours later, he left a rating for me, said I was rude on the phone. The world is broken. She called herself a digital creator, which, fine, so does half the internet. But the difference is she believed her own hype like it was religion. I met her during freshman orientation. She had a ring light clipped to her dorm bed before she had even unpacked her toothbrush. Let's call her Carly, with an I, obviously. She was the type who talked in Instagram captions. Constantly posting, constantly filming, constantly on. At first I thought it was harmless, maybe even kind of admirable. She had this hustle energy that made you feel like she was going somewhere. But the cracks started early. She'd borrow clothes for content and never return them. She once accidentally tagged herself wearing my jacket and then deleted my comment when I asked her to credit me. When I brought it up privately, she said, "It just fits my brand better if it looks like I styled it." Okay. Then she started name-dropping events she never went to, tagging cafes she wasn't even at. Once I caught her uploading a throwback pretending to be in Paris, while she was literally sitting across from me eating leftover sushi. When I asked why, she smirked and said, "It's all part of the illusion, babe." The final straw? She posted a giveaway. Claimed she was gifting a $200 skincare bundle to give back to the community. She made a whole video about how grateful she was and how she wanted to bless one of her loyal followers. The giveaway winner? Her own cousin, under a fake username. She literally mailed the empty box to herself, so I snapped. Quietly. I gathered screenshots, fake tags, duplicate captions, giveaway lie. I created a burner TikTok, stitched her own videos, and exposed every part of the scam, receipts, timestamps, contradictions, all of it. Not with rage, with precision. And the best part, it went viral. Her comments were flooded, people unfollowed by the thousands. Her next sponsored post got pulled by the brand. Suddenly, she wasn't a digital creator, she was just Carly again. No I, no illusion. She tried to message me, said I was jealous, said I ruined her momentum. I said, "You did that all by yourself." Lesson? Don't build a brand on bullshit and expect people to keep clapping. I didn't expect anything crazy. Just maybe a call, a text, one happy birthday before noon. It was a Tuesday. Nothing special. I woke up to the usual group chat memes, unread emails, some Instagram likes, but nothing from them. No happy birthday, sweetie, from my mom. No how old are you now from my dad. Not even the bare minimum HB from my sister, who's glued to her phone 24/7. Just silence. And the thing is, this isn't the first time. Last year they forgot too. I made excuses for them, said it was because of my aunt's surgery or the storm or someone's work schedule. But this time, there were no distractions, no family crisis, just pure careless forgetting. I waited all morning, convincing myself maybe they were planning a surprise. Maybe they were pretending to forget. At 1:12 p.m., I cracked and posted a soft little birthday selfie, just to remind people. Friends replied, random classmates commented, strangers sent love, still nothing from my family. At 3:40 p.m., I caved. I texted my mom. "Hey, just checking in." She replied, "Busy day, everything okay?" I stared at the screen, typed and deleted about 5 different things, settled on, yeah. She never followed up. It wasn't until 9:07 p.m. that my cousin posted a story of her cake with "Happy Birthday, Maya," written in pink frosting. My mom replied to that, "So cute, tell her we said HBD." That's when I knew. She didn't just forget, she wasn't going to remember. I logged off, turned my phone over, stared at the ceiling. It wasn't even about the birthday anymore. It was about being invisible in the one place you're supposed to be seen. So yeah, happy birthday to me, I guess. I didn't mean to go full delusional. It started small. One bullet point, one exaggerated title. But the job listing felt so far out of my league, I figured I had to inflate a little. I just didn't expect them to actually call. It was this mid-size marketing agency downtown. Salary, way more than I'd ever made. Benefits, real ones. The listing said 3 to 5 years of agency experience, proficiency in Adobe Suite, copywriting background preferred. I had none of that, so I made adjustments. Suddenly, I assisted in branding campaigns at a place I interned at for 2 weeks. I was proficient in Adobe Illustrator because I once made a flyer in Canva, and I added one made-up freelance project just to pad things out. I submitted the application and moved on. 2 days later, I got an interview. I panicked. Spent all night watching YouTube tutorials on branding terms I didn't understand. I even practiced fake answers to hypothetical campaign questions. But during the actual interview, they barely asked me anything technical. It was all, "Tell me about a time you overcame a challenge," and "How do you handle tight deadlines?" I made up stories like a pathological liar. At the end, the manager smiled and said, "We really like your energy." 2 days later, offer letter in my inbox. Now here's where it gets dark. The first week on the job, they threw me into a real campaign. Logos, copy, tagline revisions, all of it. I opened Illustrator and just stared. I had no clue what I was doing. I was literally dragging objects around and pretending I was adjusting alignment. It was visual improv. My first draft was so bad the senior designer pulled me aside and said, "Hey, do you need help figuring out the tools?" I said, "Oh, I just haven't updated my shortcuts yet." What does that even mean? I spent every night for the first month secretly learning what I had claimed to already know. One time I watched a 40-minute video titled, "How Fonts Work." Eventually, I got better, actually better, but the guilt never really went away. They hired someone who didn't exist. I just became her out of necessity. Would I do it again? Honestly, probably not. But also, probably yes, because I'm still here, still getting paid, still somehow convincing everyone I'm qualified. So yeah, fake it till you're legally on payroll. I swear I wasn't even thinking about my ex. It wasn't some Freudian slip or deep unresolved feelings. It just slipped out. And the second I said it, time stopped. We were mid-conversation, just lying around watching some dumb documentary he picked. Nothing heavy, nothing romantic. I turned to say something, I don't even remember what, and instead of his name, I said my ex's. Clear as day, full name, first and last. I didn't even realize it at first. He blinked, paused the TV, looked at me, and I go, "What?" Like I had no idea what just came out of my mouth. He goes, "Did you just call me Jordan?" Silence. My stomach dropped. I tried to lie. "No, I said Gordon? Like Ramsay? I was talking about the chef." He wasn't buying it. The worst part? We weren't even dating that long. Maybe 6 weeks in. That early stage where everything's still fun and flirty and you're trying not to show any damage. And here I am, name-dropping the guy who gave me trust issues in 2021. He didn't yell. He didn't storm out. He just laughed. That kind of laugh that's not funny at all. Then he stood up, grabbed his keys, and said, "I'll let you have some time with Gordon then." Gone. I texted him later with the longest, most embarrassing apology of my life. He replied the next day, "It's cool, happens. But maybe you should figure out who you're still talking to, me or your past." We didn't recover after that, and honestly, I don't blame him. Lesson learned? Names carry ghosts, and they show up exactly when you least want them to. I wasn't stalking him. I wasn't trying to run into anyone. I was literally just grabbing coffee before class. Hoodie, no makeup, earbuds in, fully anonymous mode. The last thing I expected to see was my ex sitting outside the cafe, leaning across the table all flirty, with my cousin. And not just any cousin, my close cousin, the one I vented to during the breakup. The one who said, "You can do so much better," while sending me memes to cheer me up. That cousin. At first, I didn't even register it. I thought, that girl looks like Jess. Then I saw her laugh and put her hand on his. Then I saw him, smirking like he'd won a prize. And then she leaned over to kiss him. I froze in the middle of the sidewalk, coffee in one hand, betrayal in the other. They didn't see me. I literally had to walk behind a trash bin to catch my breath. My heart was pounding like I had just walked into a movie I wasn't supposed to see. I texted her, just one line, "You with him right now?" No response. 10 minutes later, I get a message. "It's not what it looks like," which is the universal translation for exactly what it looks like. Later that night, I got a paragraph from her about how they connected unexpectedly and didn't want to hurt me, but feelings are feelings. Oh, and she hopes we can still be family. I didn't even respond. I just blocked both of them and deleted every photo that had even a corner of their faces in it. So yeah, the next time someone says, "You can talk to me about anything," make sure they don't mean your ex's tongue in their mouth. The first weird thing was how he called me kiddo. I'm 23, not 5. But I let it slide because he was giving me a good rate on a studio and didn't seem that creepy. Just kind of awkward, like someone who hadn't spoken to another human in a while. Then came the maintenance visits, plural. One time for the heater, another for the blinds, once to check the air filters, which, spoiler alert, he never actually checked. He'd show up with no tools, just a coffee in hand and a weird smile. I'd be in sweats, no makeup, clearly not trying to impress anyone, and he'd still do this thing where he'd look around and go, "Cozy, you've really made it feminine, okay?" I started locking my bedroom door even when I was home. The turning point? Rent renewal. He emails me saying he wants to talk options. I assume it's paperwork. I show up to his office and he's got candles lit. Actual candles, like it's a restaurant. He sits me down and goes, "You know, if we got to know each other better, I could be flexible with your rate." I blinked, hard. "Sorry?" He smiles. "I'm just saying, I take care of people who are good to me." I wanted to vomit. I said I needed to think about it, grabbed my bag, and left. The next day, I submitted a formal notice to vacate and reported him to the property manager. Turns out I wasn't the first, or the second. They'd gotten multiple complaints, and somehow he was still working there. 2 weeks later, he left a voicemail saying he missed our chats. I blocked the number. Moral of the story? Always read the reviews before you sign a lease. And if your landlord offers you flexibility, run. It was a stock photo of a woman fake smiling at her laptop with the caption, "When your boss schedules a meeting to talk about morale, but you're the reason morale is low." I didn't tag anyone. I didn't name the company. I posted it to my private story thinking it would get a few laughs from close friends. I had 8 views total. 8. That's it. But apparently one of those 8 decided to screenshot and send it to my supervisor. And that's how I ended up in a very real, very awkward HR meeting 3 days later. Let me back up. I worked at this small marketing firm where everything looked great on paper, but the vibe was off. The break room was silent 90% of the time. Everyone walked around like they were waiting for a jump scare. Our boss, let's call her Brenda, had this passive-aggressive positivity thing where she'd say, "We're like family here," right before micromanaging your breathing. Anyway, that week she had made us sit through a mandatory 2-hour Zoom on team energy, during which she quoted Brené Brown and made us list what fuels our professional fire. I was so checked out I typed "bagels and fear" just to see if anyone noticed. No one did. So yeah, that meme, it wasn't just a joke, it was therapy. But apparently Brenda saw it, recognized the office, and took it very personally. I got called in and they hit me with, "We have some concerns about your social media activity." I said I didn't mention the company. They said it was implied. I asked if I could explain. They said no. I was let go for culture fit, which is just corporate speak for "you made fun of us and we can't take it." But you know what? I stand by it. Because if your morale meeting inspires memes, maybe the problem isn't the memes. It was supposed to be a chill night. I was on the couch half watching reality TV when I got a text from my mom that made my soul leave my body. It said, "Did you end things with that situationship guy yet? He gives me the ick. Looks like he lies for fun." And then immediately after, "Oops, ignore that last text." Except, she didn't send it to me. She sent it to him. Yeah, let me explain. I'd been seeing this guy for like 2 months. Not official, not casual. Just that confusing in-between phase where you talk every day but never define anything. My mom knew about him because obviously I vented. He'd been flaky. He'd cancel plans but still text "thinking about you" at 1 a.m. You know the type. Anyway, I guess I'd been talking to her about him a lot because she decided to send me her opinion, bluntly, and instead she sent it to him. Full name, situationship, and everything. He screenshotted it and sent it back to me, no caption, just vibes. I didn't even know what to do. I called her and said, "Do you realize what you just did?" She goes, "Oh no, wait. He was saved as Chris too?" Then she tried to say, "Maybe this will finally give you clarity." "Okay, Socrates." He didn't reply for like a full day. Then he texts, "I didn't realize I give off lying for fun energy, but noted." I said, "She didn't mean it like that." He said, "She used the word ick. There's no misinterpreting that." So yeah, that was the unofficial end of that. He ghosted me 3 days later, and my mom claimed she did me a favor. Moral of the story? Never tell your mom too much. And for the love of everything, double check who you're texting. At first, it felt like we were just really similar. We liked the same music, had the same taste in clothes, made the same dumb jokes. But over time, it stopped feeling like a coincidence and started feeling calculated. It started small. I'd tell a story, and the next week she'd tell the same story at a party, as if it happened to her, word for word. I brought it up once, and she laughed and said, "We're basically the same person anyway." I laughed too. I shouldn't have. Then she dyed her hair the same color as mine, after I spent a week debating if I should even do it. I showed her the inspo photo. She said it would look amazing on me, then booked an appointment the next day and posted the exact look. Caption, "New era, feeling like me again, as if I didn't show her first. I started noticing she'd buy the exact items I bought. Same jacket, same boots, even the same phone case. I changed my lock screen. She changed hers to match. The final straw? I uploaded a TikTok about a super personal story. Something I went through during college, something vulnerable. It blew up a little. A few days later, she posted the exact same story, just rewritten. Same pacing, same emotional beats. She even copied the background music. And no, she never went through that. I know because she was with me when it happened. I confronted her, sat her down and said, "Why are you trying to be me?" She got defensive, said I was insecure, said I don't own vibes. I said, "I'm not gatekeeping trauma. I'm asking why you're pretending it's yours." She didn't get it. Or maybe she did and didn't care. I blocked her that night. She's still out there, probably copying someone else by now, but not me, not anymore. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't losing yourself. It's watching someone else try to wear your identity like a costume. It was supposed to be our first real date, the kind where you sit down, make eye contact, and actually figure out if this is going anywhere. We'd been texting for a couple weeks. He seemed normal. Better than normal, honestly. Why, charming, polite, borderline poetic in his texts. So when he asked me to dinner, I said yes without hesitation. The restaurant was this trendy little spot with dim lighting and overpriced pasta. I got there 5 minutes early, took a booth near the back, and waited. At 7:03, I saw him walk in, and right behind him was a woman. Not another date, not a friend. His mother. I thought maybe he was just walking her in or dropping her off. But no. He smiled, waved at me, and walked both of them straight to my table. He said, "Hey, hope you don't mind. My mom's joining us tonight." I just stared. He sat across from me. She sat next to him. The waitress came over and he looked at her to order for both of them. She said, "I just had to meet the girl he's been talking about so much." I didn't know whether to laugh or leave. They started telling me childhood stories, showed me photos of his high school graduation. She asked if I was religious, then if I wanted kids. I blinked through the whole thing, nodding and sipping my wine like it was anesthesia. Halfway through the meal, she excused herself to the restroom. I turned to him and whispered, "You do realize this is insane, right?" He said, "What do you mean? I think it shows how close I am with my family." No, no, sir. This is not family closeness. This is a red flag with a side of psychological damage. After dessert, which I did not order, she said, "We should do this again." I said, "We won't," and I left. He texted me later asking if I was mad. I didn't respond. I just blocked him and mentally added him to the list of things I'll never explain to future therapists. He was one of those guys who talk like they're in a rom-com trailer. Every text was perfectly timed, a little witty, a little deep, just enough vulnerability to make you feel like he's emotionally available. He said things like, "You seem like the kind of girl who deserves effort." I fell for it, obviously. We met on Hinge. His profile said, "Between careers," but I didn't judge. Everyone's figuring it out these days. On our first date, we met at a little cafe near my place. He was already there, sipping water. No coffee, no food. I thought, wow, early. No, just broke. I ordered a latte and a croissant. He said he'd already eaten, then watched me eat the whole thing while asking me deep questions about my childhood. It was fine, until the check came and he patted his pockets like a sitcom character. Crap, I think I left my wallet in my car. Do you mind? I paid. No big deal. First date grace, right? Date 2, his idea. He picks this bistro downtown. Fancy, overpriced, candles on the tables. He orders steak. I get pasta, 2 cocktails each. We're vibing, laughing, talking about our childhood dogs. I actually think, okay, this might be something. Then the bill comes. He stares at it like it's a surprise twist ending. "Oh, I forgot to move money into my checking account. Can I Venmo you tonight?" I hesitate, smile, say sure. He never Venmo'd me. Third time, he wants to cook. "Let me make it up to you," he says. "You deserve something thoughtful." He texts me a list of ingredients and tells me to come over at 7. I go to the store, spend $40 on groceries plus a bottle of wine. I show up. He opens the door in sweats and says, "So glad you brought the stuff. I was too swamped to go out today." He boiled some pasta from a box, heated up sauce. No seasoning, no salad. Just noodles, wine, and a guy talking about his dreams of starting a podcast once the time feels right. After we ate, he goes, "Want to help clean up? I'm kind of wiped." I did. I washed dishes in his apartment while he scrolled on his phone on the couch. 2 days later, I sent him a meme. No reply. The next day, I sent, "Hey, hope everything's okay." Nothing. After a week of silence, I checked his story. He was at a bar with another girl, laughing, hand on her leg, captioned, "Grateful for real ones." That's when I realized I wasn't even ghosted. I was used. Used for coffee, used for dinner, used for groceries, used for fake emotional support while he lined up the next girl to scam. I didn't text again. I didn't beg for closure. I just sat with it. Let myself feel stupid. Then remembered the only thing I did wrong was believe someone who said all the right things and meant none of them. So yeah, if a guy says he's between jobs and forgot his wallet, don't worry. You're not dating a struggling romantic. You're dealing with a freeloading liar with a meal plan. And you're not the first or the last. It was supposed to be a private message, just a harmless little vent to my work bestie. We do it all the time. One-on-one texts during meetings, sarcastic reactions to emails, mild digital eye rolls, the usual corporate coping mechanisms. But this time, I hit the wrong chat. And by the time I realized, it was already over. Let me set the scene. It's Monday morning, 9:07 a.m., and we're on this endless Zoom meeting going over Q3 projections. Our boss, we'll call her Karen, because of course, is doing that thing where she explains everything like no one has ever heard of a spreadsheet. We're looking at a 4.8% shift in client-side retention, which means more client-side retention. I physically recoiled. So I opened the group chat, the work bestie chat. Just me and Becca. At least that's what I thought. I type, "Karen's out here explaining basic math like she just invented numbers. Harvard Business School could never." Send. Except, I didn't send it to Becca. I sent it to the entire department group chat, including Karen. I stared at my screen for a full 5 seconds. Didn't breathe, didn't blink. Just watched the 3 little dots of doom as people started typing. Then the first message hit. From Steve. "Oh no," from someone else. And then nothing. Just total, soul-crushing silence. Karen goes quiet on the call. No reaction. She finishes her sentence and ends the meeting like normal. I wanted to crawl into the nearest server and delete myself from existence. 10 minutes later, she replies in the group chat, "Glad to know I'm keeping everyone engaged," with a thumbs up. That was it. No follow-up, no private message, no warning from HR. Just that one terrifyingly polite clapback. I didn't get fired. Yet. But I did spend the rest of the week walking around like a ghost in business casual. No one said anything, but everyone knew. Moral of the story? Always triple check your audience. And never underestimate the power of a boss who knows how to weaponize silence. It was supposed to go to someone else, obviously. But no matter how many times I replay it in my head, it doesn't change the fact that my 40-year-old professor received a full-body mirror selfie of me in a towel. Captioned, "Is this too much or just enough?" Let me back up. I had just gotten out of the shower, getting ready for a night out. My hair looked good, lighting was perfect, skin glowing, so I did what any of us would do. Took the pic, opened messages, and tapped the top conversation. Except I forgot I had just emailed my professor an hour earlier, and his name was now sitting right at the top of my recent threads. I didn't even realize the mistake until I checked my phone 20 minutes later and saw, "Image sent successfully," to Professor Lyman. My heart stopped. I opened the thread, praying it somehow failed to send. Nope. There it was, in all its horror. The towel, the pose, the caption. I swear my ancestors felt the secondhand shame. 2 minutes later, he replied, "I don't think this was meant for me. Please be more mindful in the future." I almost fainted. I didn't respond. I didn't breathe. I honestly considered dropping the class, or transferring schools, or changing my name and disappearing into the woods. The next lecture, I sat in the back wearing a hoodie and didn't raise my hand once. He didn't say anything. He didn't look at me. But every time he paused mid-sentence, I thought he was going to bring it up. He never did. But he also never replied to another email of mine again. Ever. Not even when I asked about final grades. So yeah, learn from me. Thirst traps and schoolwork don't belong in the same inbox. Always double check the name. Or just don't take towel selfies within 10 feet of an email app. I had been crushing on him for weeks before I even knew his name. We kept running into each other at the gym, same 6 p.m. slot, same machines, same post-workout smoothie spot across the street. He was hot in a soft-spoken, slightly mysterious way, always held the door open, always nodded like he recognized me, but never pushed it. One day, I finally worked up the nerve to talk to him, made some dumb joke about tripping over a yoga mat, and he laughed, like genuinely laughed. And we ended up chatting for 45 minutes in the parking lot. His name was Ryan. We swapped Instagrams. He followed me before I even got home. From there, it escalated fast. Late night DMs, playlist sharing, inside jokes. We hadn't gone on a real date yet, but it was clear something was building. He even said, we should hang out somewhere that isn't just next to dumbbells. I thought, finally. Then came the twist. My apartment complex was throwing one of those forced community mixer things. Free drinks, awkward name tags, neighbors pretending they don't hear each other through the walls. I almost didn't go, but my roommate dragged me. She wanted to flirt with the guy in 2B. I went for the wine. 15 minutes in, the property manager gets on the mic and starts introducing long-term tenants to the rest of us newbies. He points to this sweet older woman who lives across the hall from me and says, "And this is Miss Paula. Been here 15 years. Her son just moved back in temporarily to help with her knee surgery." I turn my head. Miss Paula waves, and standing right next to her, holding her purse, is Ryan. My Ryan, Jim Ryan, playlist Ryan. He sees me. His face drops. I freeze. Smile, like an idiot. He walks over and goes, "Hey, I was gonna tell you, I just didn't know how." I said, "You live across from me?" He said, "Technically next door, temporarily." I don't even know what I said after that. Something polite, something fake. Then I left. We never hung out after that. Not because it was that scandalous, but because the vibe was just gone. It went from flirty mystery to, "Hi, I heard your mom's TV through the wall last night." Sometimes a crush is just better as a stranger. She swore she wasn't wearing my stuff, every single time. And every single time I'd open Instagram and see her wearing my exact top, or my jeans. Once she even wore a dress I hadn't even taken the tag off yet. Posted a full mirror selfie, captioned, "New fit who dis," and didn't even crop out the hanger marks on the sleeves. At first, I kept it chill. I'd say stuff like, "Hey, have you seen my black bodysuit?" And she'd go, "No, I think I saw it in the laundry." The laundry, where it miraculously reappeared, stretched out and smelling like her body spray. She was one of those girls who thought being roommates meant sharing everything. I said, "We can share food, not closets." She laughed. I wasn't joking. It got worse. She started borrowing stuff for entire weekends. Once she took my favorite cropped leather jacket to a party and spilled something down the front. She stuffed it back into the coat closet like I wouldn't notice. I said, "You ruined this." She said, "It was already kind of scratched." I almost lost it, so I plotted. I went through my closet and pulled out a pair of ancient leggings I haven't worn since sophomore year. Faded, stretched, with a nearly invisible rip in the inner seam. I folded them nicely and placed them on top of my laundry basket like bait. Sure enough, 2 days later, I see her strutting out of the apartment in those leggings, wearing a hoodie that also used to be mine. I smiled, said nothing. That night, she comes storming into the kitchen. "Did you know those leggings were ripped?" "Oh no," I said, fully deadpan. "I've been meaning to sew those for months." She stared at me like she knew. I stared back like I didn't care. And that was the last time she ever touched my stuff. Moral of the story? If you're gonna steal from me, at least know how to check for hidden traps. Because I may be chill, but I'm also creative, and a little petty, and I always keep the receipts. It was supposed to be a quick rinse, 5 minutes in and out. The party was still going strong downstairs. Music, drinks, too many people in a too small apartment. I just wanted to freshen up before rejoining the chaos. So I grabbed a clean towel, ran upstairs to my friend's bathroom, and locked the door behind me. Quick shower, no hair wash. I wrapped the towel around me, reached for the handle, and realized it wasn't budging. The knob turned, but nothing happened. I tried again, still locked. I thought maybe I just didn't twist hard enough. I twisted harder. Nothing. I jiggled, I pulled, I leaned into it. Then I realized it wasn't just locked. The doorknob had broken. From the inside. Now I'm trapped. Wet, barefoot, wrapped in one towel, standing in a tiny upstairs bathroom that's getting hotter by the second from leftover steam. Music blasting downstairs. No one could hear me knock. No one was even near the hallway. I looked around for options. Window? Sealed shut? Phone? Left it downstairs in my bag. Clothes? Piled on the toilet tank, useless without access to the hallway. After 10 minutes of knocking and whisper yelling, I accepted defeat and did the worst thing imaginable. I cracked the door open slightly and screamed for help. And of course, it wasn't just anyone who answered. It was my ex's new girlfriend, in a crop top and heels, holding a truly massive margarita. She blinked at me. I blinked back. She goes, are you good? I said, no, door broke. I'm locked in. Please get someone. She called my best friend, who showed up crying from laughter, took a photo before helping, and then got someone to unscrew the knob from the outside. I finally got out, changed, went back downstairs, and the whole party knew. People were handing me towels. Someone asked if I wanted to give a speech from the bath. Moral of the story? Never shower during a house party. Never trust a bathroom door built before 2002. And if you do get locked in, pray it's not your ex's new girlfriend who finds you. I was halfway through my second drink when I saw him walk in, uninvited, unannounced, and holding hands with her. It was my birthday, a real one, not a let's go out for drinks thing. I planned this, rented a rooftop, booked a DJ, sent out custom invites, even had a cake that said my name in glitter. Everyone who was there was supposed to be there, except my ex. We hadn't spoken in 3 months. It wasn't a clean breakup. He cheated, lied, made it messy, and then played the victim. Blocked him on everything. We were done. So when I saw him step out of the elevator, wearing the same jacket I bought him last Christmas, with a new girl holding his arm like she belonged, I froze. He scanned the crowd like he was looking for someone, like he had a right to be there. And when our eyes met, he smiled. Not a happy to see you smile. A performance, like he wanted me to react. I didn't. I turned to my best friend and said, "Did you invite him?" She was already pulling off her heels like something was about to go down. Meanwhile, the new girl, tall, curls, full glam, had the audacity to wave at me. Wave? I said, "Who is she?" My friend said, "Her name's Taylor. She followed you on Instagram last week." Perfect. I walked over, calm. I asked him, "What are you doing here?" He shrugged. I heard about it, thought I'd stop by, didn't know it was that deep. I said, "You weren't invited." He said, "It's a public venue." I said, "It's my party." People were watching now. Taylor was sipping a drink she didn't pay for. I asked security to walk them out. He acted shocked, said I was being immature, said I couldn't handle seeing him happy. I told him, happiness doesn't usually show up where it wasn't wanted. That's called desperation. Security escorted them out. The door shut behind them. Everyone clapped. I didn't even want that, but it felt good, like a line had been drawn. The rest of the night? Perfect. He didn't ruin it. He just reminded me exactly why he's not in my life anymore. I didn't plan it. It started as a joke. But somehow I ended up fake dating someone in my class just to get out of a group assignment. And the lie got so deep I almost had to stage a breakup over email. So here's what happened. It was midterms. My worst class, group presentation, 30% of the grade, randomly assigned partners. I've had group trauma before, people disappearing, ghosting until the night before, putting their names on slides they didn't write. Not again. The day of partner assignments, I panicked. I leaned over to the guy next to me, this quiet, smart type who always shows up early, and whispered, "Tell the prof we're dating so we can work together." He laughed. I said I was serious. He shrugged and said, "Fine, let's commit." So we did. We walked up and told our professor we were together and preferred to be grouped as a pair. She smiled like it was adorable, said, "Of course, I support love." We got our own project. It should have ended there, but people in class noticed. We started getting side eyes. Someone asked if we were Facebook official. He said, "She hasn't proposed yet." I went along with it. We were acting, I thought. But then he started walking me to class, texting me memes, bringing coffee. And I couldn't tell if he was just leaning into the bit or if this was some kind of method romance. One day he put his arm around me in the cafeteria and said, "Our love is built on avoiding responsibilities." I laughed so hard I choked on my salad. Our friends were genuinely confused. Someone even asked if we were moving in together. Eventually, we finished the project. Early, by the way. Best one in class. But after we presented, the professor said, "You two have great chemistry. I hope the relationship lasts." That's when we both realized we never discussed the end game. So we staged a breakup in front of our friends. He said, "It's not you, it's the rubric." I said, "I need someone who cites their sources." It got a standing ovation. We still text, not dating, just two people who faked love to avoid teamwork. And honestly, I regret nothing. This still haunts me, and it's been months. I went home for the weekend, just a casual visit, nothing major. I packed light, tossed a few essentials in my overnight bag, including, that. It's small, quiet, subtle, matte black, doesn't scream anything obvious. I forgot it was even in there. So I get home, drop my bag by the stairs, and go to help my mom in the kitchen. 15 minutes later, I hear my dad call from the living room. "Hey, is this your flashlight?" I freeze. I peek around the corner and he's holding it, turning it over like he's trying to figure out where the batteries go. He even presses the button. It turns on, and the look on his face changed instantly. He goes, oh, okay, this isn't a flashlight." He sets it down like it burned him and just walks away. No further questions, no eye contact, nothing. My mom goes, "What happened?" And he goes, "Nothing, absolutely nothing. Don't touch that thing on the table." I didn't even try to explain. What was I supposed to say? "Oops, that's for emergencies, but not the lighting kind." I left the next morning before breakfast. I still can't sit through a family dinner without flashbacks. I have never packed more carefully in my life since then. Lesson learned, always double check your bag. Because once your dad thinks your vibrator is a tactical flashlight, you don't come back from that. I spent 2 weeks perfecting that presentation. Slides were clean, visuals were strong, transitions smooth. I even practiced the jokes. It was for a senior seminar, 30% of my final grade. I was ready. The night before, I emailed the deck to my professor, just like we were supposed to. He said he'd load everyone's onto the classroom computer in advance. Cool, easy. I went to bed thinking I could finally relax. The next morning, I show up early, sit down, and start watching the other presentations. Third one in, this guy named Derek, gets up and opens his slides, and I freeze. They're mine. Same template, same structure, same exact title. At first, I thought it was a glitch, like maybe mine had accidentally opened. But then Derek starts presenting my points, my jokes, word for word. I look at the professor. He's nodding, encouraging, not confused, complicit. When it's my turn, I go up and say, "There must be a mistake. Those were actually my slides." The professor stares at me and says, "You must have misunderstood. Derek sent those in first." I said, "Check the timestamps." He says, "That's not necessary." I realized in that moment, he gave my slides to someone else. Or worse, he gave them to Derek, because Derek's his research assistant, his golden boy, the one he always says has potential. I sat there, stunned, while the rest of the class watched me try to improvise a whole new presentation with no materials. It was a disaster. I went straight to the department head after class, showed my email timestamp, showed my original file. She said, "We'll look into it," which is admin speak for, "We hope you forget." I didn't forget. And now, every student in that seminar knows what happened, because I told them. And next semester, that professor's not teaching the class anymore. Guess plagiarism works both ways.